Carson Tate's video log. I'm here in the Big Easy with famous author William Holden, Lambda Literary Award finalist. You have to say it with an accent.
Do you? I didn't know that.
You do. Try it.
I don't do accents.
Oh, come on.
I don't.
Just a little bit. Really?
Lambda Literary Award.
Lambda Literary Award finalist.
My southern drawl.
I love it. So you have your book that's nominated for a Lammy is a novel.
Yes.
But you are also a prolific short story writer.
Yes.
So I want to talk about your short stories first.
Okay.
Words to Die By.
Yes.
I'm fascinated by that anthology. It's got some fantastic stories.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, so tell us a little bit about the genesis of that.
I've always written gay erotica, and I had a paragraph come to me 3 or 4 years ago that just out of nowhere, it was like the darkest thing I'd ever written. And I didn't figure out where it came from, and my partner's like, well, why wouldn't it? You love horror. You watch horror movies, you read Stephen King and Clive Barker. He said, try your hand at it. So I just started creating these.
So you wrote like, what, 16?
There's 16.
16
There's
horror
7 or
stories.
8 others that I didn't put in the book.
Really?
Yeah, they're
you have that much horror in you?
Yeah, I have that much horror in me. I'm evil. I have a dark half.
I really like, is it called The Other Man?
The Other Man. Yeah, the sex doll.
Yeah, that was
my favorite story.
It was creepy.
That was my favorite story.
It was super creepy. I loved it.
Why not have a sex doll come to life
I know.
and murder his, partner or his owner?
It was terrific. Well, the owner wasn't obedient.
This is true.
Yeah.
The owner was not obedient.
I hope I'm not spoiling the story. No,
that's
I'm not
fine.
spoiling the story because it's more about the process.
Yes.
Excellent.
The process of him coming to life.
What's your favorite story in the anthology?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me that. I was going to say The Other Man.
Okay.
It was just the first one I actually wrote, and it was my favorite.
It's awesomely creepy. Love it. So tell us about the book that's nominated. Is it Secret Societies? And tell us a little bit about that book.
It's set in 18th century London during the time of the sodomy trials. I happened across a book called Mother Clapp's Molly House 7, 8 years ago and fell in love with Mother Clapp, who was a real person who ran a male brothel, and it was raided and all the men were arrested. And one guy, so I started looking for any legal documents, old legal documents, and I found all the court cases.
Oh, wow.
And all the transcripts. And this one name kept appearing, Thomas Newton. And he was a prostitute, but he was also the one testifying against all the men he slept with.
Oh.
So I spent 6 years researching 18th century London and the sodomy trials, and that's where the book came from.
So what's the most interesting thing that you had to do research, and what's the most interesting thing you learned?
Research is hard. It takes a long time, and I had so much information, I had a hard time cutting it.
Distilling it.
Because I had 75 trial transcripts to go through.
Oh my gosh.
And I only used basically 3 in the novel because there's just so much. So it was actually listening to these people's testimonies and what they went through in that time was just horrific and fascinating. And Thomas and Mother Clapp had this weird mother-son relationship.
Yeah, I just heard you read a section from the book.
And it's odd, no one knows whatever happened to them. There's no death record for either one of them.
Really?
There's no birth certificates for either one of them. But they were real people in 18th century London who went through this.
Okay, that's fascinating. So, is historical, is that a special passion of yours? Or
it is now. I live and breathe historical 18th century stuff, and my next collection, Clothed in Flesh, is 18th century horror.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
So, 18th century horror. So what's different about 18th century horror than modern day horror, besides cell phones?
People's belief. Yeah, besides people's beliefs and what's out there. Like, one of the stories is a zombie story, but they're not flesh-eating zombies. 18th century people believe that the zombies came back to life and they drained your life force.
Oh.
Through breathing your air and sucking out your soul.
Oh, that's creepier.
So, and I have a story about mirrors, and of course back then superstitions it was the gateway to hell. So I used what was the beliefs in 18th century to come up with these stories.
Another novel on the horizon?
I just finished the sequel to Secret Societies.
Oh, excellent. I was going to ask if there's a sequel.
There is a sequel.
There
is a sequel. I just finished it. So.
Terrific. What's it called?
The Thief Taker.
The Thief Taker.
Yes.
I love that.
Thank you.
All right. Well, good luck at the Lambs.
Thank you.
And
thank you for this.
Thanks for joining us
Not
here
a problem.
today. It's William Holden, and we're here in the Big Easy. So this is Carson Tate's video log signing off.
Bye.